So, is hijacking an entire island, then overlaying it with NPC holograms and projected characters mixed with actual physical buildings, then having people log in with their own weird hologram avatars projected thousands of miles away onto said island, more or less practical than a full-dive VR headset that hijacked the central nervous system? Asking for a friend. If someone in the comments wants to give a breakdown to what something like this would actually cost in real-world dollars, I'd be fascinated to see a breakdown. Logistics aside, join me for a closer look at CrossCode. Greetings everyone, this is the Hipster Snek, bringing today another bit of N-D-X-Cellence. Developed by Radical Fish Games, a name I wholeheartedly approve of, and published by Deck 13, CrossCode debuted across all PC types in 2018, following on the heels of a 3-year beta development phase and a successful Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign. In 2020, it got subsequent re-releases on the Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4. So hey, more proof positive that crowdfunding can work. Always nice to get a little reminder here and there, right? Let's really dive into it. We awake as the blue-haired Leah, who is kind of mute, but not really. She's also an amnesiac and finds herself in the cargo hold of a ship and fighting off some psycho who's out for her head. She makes contact with Sergey, who guides her as the ship makes its way to the island, where the real-world MMORPG, again, logistics, of CrossWorlds. In order to help Leah get her memories back and figure out exactly what's going on, they decide the best thing to do is to send her out into the game proper, where she can explore the island to her heart's content. Along the way, she makes friends with Emily, a French player, and the enigmatic, read really annoying and pedantic, Apollo, who sets himself up as Leah's rival and even accuses her of cheating in an MMO. But once the initial rough patch is settled, Leah travels on through the game, taking on quests galore in order to figure out the mysteries surrounding CrossWorlds. And to start, the game looks great. It adapts a sort of Super Nintendo/PS1 style to its graphics with an overhead camera and the ability to move and fire in 8 directions. And everything is immensely colorful right from the start. I just love the graphic design for this game so much. Everything is immensely detailed and there are tons of tween frames, giving even Leah's Naruto run a smooth animation cycle. Yes, seriously, she Naruto runs, look at it. The enemies are all distinctly designed as well, so you generally know what's a target and what's to be avoided or blocked. There's a lot of projectiles on the screen at once in a lot of cases, so this knowledge is pivotal for player success. And it pulls it off and never drops a single frame in the runtime, even when things get to their most hectic. And the overall sound design deserves high praise, with a soundtrack that makes me think of Mega Man Battle Network in the best ways, with its high-flying techno-rock motifs found throughout. I adore the battle themes in particular, but even the more relaxed sound themes suit the setting really well. The sound effects are great too, remaining pleasing no matter how many times I hear them. It helps give the game its incredibly comfy atmosphere the entire way through. And while there is no overdubbing in the game, I wish there was for one very specific reason. The protagonist is mute up until Sergey bends some in-game rules giving her the ability to speak one word at a time. So dialogue such as, "Hi, Leah, hi," are commonly found in her many exchanges. It's hysterical and I had nowhere else in the script to bring it up, so I'm saying it here. Come on, Radical Fish, you know it would be funny to pay some hapless lady to do it. Putting that aside, the core gameplay of CrossCode is what really sets it apart. While CrossWorlds, the game within the context of the game, is an MMORPG, the main game is a single-player action RPG. So you have unlimited time to explore, carry out side quests, do dungeons, or grind to your heart's content, and no one will give you a hard time about it. Leah is the class known as the Spheromancer, making her the best balanced with a wide array of tools that she'll need to be able to utilize to the greatest effect in order to see her way to the end of the game. The class is said to be unpopular in canon for some of these very reasons. However, it means you have great ranges of customization for Leah and her playstyle. You can opt to play a ranged fighter and keep enemies at a distance to control the field, or go more aggressive in melee ranges, all at the exchanges of a few pieces of equipment. In fact, let's go more into that as it's both a strength of the game and something of the game's key hindrance to gameplay progression. In order to progress, you level up in traditional RPG fashion. Upon doing so, your stats go up a bit, and you get some skill points to plant into many different trees which you can choose to best fit your particular playstyle. Next, you change out equipment, 2 weapons and 1 piece of armor for Leah's head, body, and legs. This is where your major power-ups will actually come from, more than just leveling, but all equipment is level locked, so leveling is hardly optional, so no low-level runs here. not helped by the fact that this game is insanely grindy. As you level up, enemy XP payouts scale downwards ever closer to just 1 XP a pop. And this can get frustrating, especially as you'll never not want money on hand for those prized equipment power-ups, and then not every side quest is easy to find and carry out right away for those sweet equipment rewards where applicable. So it's difficult to outgrind the game's expected curve whether you're comfortable with it or not, and your gear will more than likely dictate the pace you proceed at more than your innate skill will at times. While frustrating and an issue that haunts the early game more than the late game, it is worth mentioning that the game is still quite fair despite these setbacks. For instance, if you hunt monsters in a given map area and then quickly move from one encounter to encounter, then rack up combos, you get bonus XP and money for having done so, gradually getting a higher rank all the while your health regen is temporarily turned off. Only when you stop for a moment and allow your rank to reset do you heal in the wake of these battles. So it creates a built-in risk-reward element directly into how the basic field combat, which is to say the better part of the game, is handled. Likewise, if you actually die due to getting a bit hungry for success, you'll be sent back to the condition you were in when you first arrived on that field. Yes, you'll need to regather any items and XP you had gotten in that downtime, but it's a fair trade-off rather than just sending you to a game over screen. Plus, those skills I mentioned earlier aren't just for show, some having simple passive effects like bolstering your stats, and some unlocking more complex active skills. For example, you can attack normally, fire at range using the right stick, dodge, and block. And yes, there are twin-stick shooter mechanics, though nowhere near as punishing as that genre tends to be. Not only that, but each of these corresponds to one of the game's elements: heat, cold, shock, and wave. Thus, the skill tree has a neutral center zone, and for branching zones you can upgrade once you have skill points to do so. However, you can use this fact to emphasize what you're already best at and tailor the Spheromancer class to whatever your playstyle is. Ta-da! It all comes full circle. Pun very much intended. And that's all done inside the context of menus. The gameplay itself is blindingly fast-paced, and here's a feature I love a lot: you get AI allies, primarily in the form of Emily, especially early on, who plays the monk-like Pentafist class and has a lot of very adorable reactions to what you're doing whenever you're in the fields. Not only that, they're actually competent. I know it's a low-wheeled miracle, but CrossCode made it happen. So you enter fields, build up big combos and rank, kill monsters, and work your way to different towns, like any good RPG. Once there, you can take on side quests from various sources for additional rewards and XP. And while you can't jump in the traditional sense, you can perform short hops off platforms at the same height and dash across certain gaps in order to satisfy some puzzles and also discover additional items. Oh yeah, the game maintains a crafting system that's fairly intuitive if you take the time out to explore all the fields you can. So not only is it good to off enemies for their XP and monies, but also for their items, which can help you prepare yourself for the road ahead in totally different ways. And thus you'll eventually be conquering dungeons with all their various tricks, traps, platforming challenges, and even shooter puzzles that await you. Hence, the gameplay loop connects back to the start of this rambly paragraph anew. Were I to issue complaint, and I must because it's what I do, it's simply what I mentioned before. It's grindy, to kind of an excessive degree. This game has a lot of gameplay hours in it that it earns in an artificial way. And while the game is fun even in light of this, and even when trapped in that grind loop, it is something that should be considered for rebalancing even if it's ever so slight. Other than that, I can't really come up with any major negatives, rather just the idea that this world should be revisited anew. Maybe with the opportunity to build your own CrossWorld's character, including being able to select your own class. I think that'd be a great idea, but we'd have to see. Overall, CrossCode is an amazing game, and I love the characters, the ideas it explores, the amazing writing, and the charming and intuitive gameplay systems. Everything is just a delight, and I wholeheartedly recommend you pick up the game for yourself on your preferred platform right now. It's an amazing title the likes of which has never been before, and it's unlikely something that will see the same level of charm and polish coming our way anytime soon. This has been the Snekomancer, bringing to you another bit of N-D-X-Cellence for your consideration. If you liked today's video, be sure to tap the like button so I know. For more like it each week, hit the subscribe and bell icons to make sure you always get notifications about new content here. Because that isn't all we do here, my closest bros and I also team up for the Tomodachi Bros podcast, now being uploaded here on Wednesdays, where we talk anime, movies, and more. And each week we explore more obscure games, N-D-X, Snek Tech, and more. Join me here for more, and I will see you there. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. And if you're still watching, I just wanted to let you guys know that I wanted to extend a big thank you to all my viewers for helping us recently break the 250 subs milestone. That is crazy to me. The fact that we did it so quickly is all thanks to you and you guys supporting me, and it means the world to me. So I want to give a little something back in return. Between now and the time we hit the 500 subs mark, both on my YouTube discussion page tab and over at my Twitter at Hipster Snek, there is now an open AMA or Ask Me Anything where you guys can ask as many questions as you want. When we hit the 500 subs mark, I will sit down, make the video, and answer every question that doesn't get me banned off YouTube. The posts are already there and pinned, awaiting your input. I'm curious to see what you guys are curious about. So I'll see you at the 500 subs mark with all the answers that you've been craving, and I will see you there.